Stars fans, welcome to a special podcast. I am joined by.
Hey guys, it's Jacob here from Melbourne Stars News, and pleased to be back on another episode. A special one today. We're going to be previewing the Stars and Renegades upcoming season. It's going to be a bit of an analysis of the two Melbourne teams. Obviously, we have a fantastic rivalry, and we're lucky enough to be joined by a Renegades fan, which I'll hand back to Heath to introduce.
Yeah, guys. This is Zac French. How you going?
Yeah, I'm going very well, thanks, Steve. Thank you for asking.
No problem.
I'm happy to be back. It's been a very big off season from the Renegades, especially with some big re-signings coming out of the girls' teams as of an hour ago as well. So there've been lots of big movements, re-signings all happening for the Gades. So they're they've been making a lot of changes, and hopefully it translates to the season.
That's very good. So go with the question. What were your thoughts on the Renegades after this year?
After this year, I just think it was we were projected to be one of the top teams, and it just didn't. On paper, we looked really good. On the game days, we started the season off really strong, but we just had we had poor performances across the board, and it just didn't translate to making the finals. So,
That's very good. Anything to add, Jacob?
No, I really agree with Frenchie there. I think their list on paper is probably one of the strongest in the league. They have so much domestic talent, especially young guys like Fraser McGurk, mixed with a lot of experience and international talent. So, it was an interesting one for the Gades. They came really close to a final spot in the end, but I think the strength of the other teams just overtook them because it was a very close competition in BBL 14. We had a lot of teams just miss out on that final spot. So, I don't really have too much else to add, but I'm looking forward to seeing what they can produce in BBL 15.
That's very good. The second is so thoughts on your squad friendship, the Renegades draft sightings. So just like your thoughts in general for that.
Yeah, so I actually I've been doing some research on some of our players, and very happy with the decision to re-sign Seifert. He was probably our most consistent batsman from last year. I believe we got third pick in the draft, and we picked up Mohammad Rizwan from Pakistan, who started off as a middle order batsman. And as he's worked his way up to being probably one of the best top order batsmen in domestic cricket, and also doing that well that he got named this year as the Pakistan Test captain. So really like he's an overall really smart player. He's got really good footwork when it comes to moving shots he can hit at all sides of the field. He's just a very, very smart batsman and very reserved as well. Muhammad, and then we've got Hassan Khan. I didn't know much about him coming into it, but he is an all-rounder spinner. He's a big hitter when it comes to batting, and he's a very smart leg spinner as well. He's got really good variations when it comes to googlies and stuff, and really good. And as I said, Seifert, just overall good batsman. Something I would like to talk to them about. This is coming from the ladies' camp as of an hour ago. 2 Renegades champions have just re-signed, that being Georgia Wareham and Sophie Molyneux. So they just announced that they re-signed today, and from Renegades winning the championships in the ladies last year, it's really, really big news. So really exciting times for Renegades. Also got to talk about the off-season moves. We had a lot of off-season moves. The biggest one was Jason Behrendorff coming all the way over from the Perth Scorchers. Probably If he didn't have his health issues, he'd probably be one of the best T20 bowlers in the world. But due to, I believe he has a medical condition which doesn't allow him to play overseas cricket, and he just plays in the Big Bash. Also, another big signing, we picked up Caleb Jewell from the Hobart Hurricanes. He a very smart top order batsman who, when he kind of compares to Mitch Owen a little bit, when he gets going, he really gets going. I believe he has had one or two BBL centuries as well. So that's, I believe, we haven't ended. Oh, and also we also signed Brendan Doggett from, I believe it, from the Adelaide Strikers. He's just a really reliable pace bowler who can pick up wickets quickly. And we've also re-signed Gurinder Sandhu, who's another really smart bowler. So really big news out of the Games camp. So yeah.
What do you think on that, Jacob?
It's fantastic. Caleb Jewell is one that I want to start with, and he's been around for a little while at the Hurricanes, and he kind of had a breakout season alongside Mitch Owen at that opening partnership. Now, as a nor Renegades or Hurricanes fan, I'm sad to see that Hurricanes partnership break up because it was great to watch. But I think the Renegades being able to pounce on Jewell is just phenomenal. I think they're in need of a top order batsman to kind of anchor the innings. I mean, they have Marcus Harris who can come and go, and they have a few other guys to play that top order alongside Fraser McGurk. But I think you have McGurk with that explosiveness and pair him with Caleb Jewell, who takes things a little bit slower but is still consistent. It's what you're looking for in a top order. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how Caleb Jewell goes this season. And yeah, another successful draft I think for the Melbourne Renegades in terms of who they've picked up. And I know we're here to compare the two Melbourne teams, so I guess we'll quickly touch on our draft picks. Heath, so obviously we have the Melbourne Renegades signing Hassan Khan, Tim Seifert, and Mohammed Rizwan. How do you see the Stars with Clark, Ralph, and Curran lining up against the Renegades?
Oh, I reckon if you had to, like, for that question, who won that draft? I reckon the Renegades did. Like, I'm not saying that Clark and Ralph and Curran were completely anonymous and weren't good picks. It's just that I thought the Renegades were smarter in their selections, and I think we just went for familiar faces and no one new. I would have liked for us to pick up someone new, but I understand why we had to go for familiar faces.
Yep. And one thing I'd like to add is, yeah, the Renegades pretty much all new faces aside from Tim Seifert, who will be maybe their wicket keeper. That's something that the Renegades have to work out, who wicket keeps for them, the New Zealander or the Pakistan test keeper. It'll be interesting to find out. But yeah, look, it was an interesting draft for the Stars, and a lot of the fans were pretty upset seeing no new faces come to the team. And one guy that you know, Heath, that I was talking about is Shamar Joseph, who we would have loved to see. Now, I'm not sure how much you two have been keeping up with the Australian Test team right now, but they're currently playing the West Indies, which is Shamar Joseph. And he's been the leading wicket taker of the series. I think he has about 7 or 8 wickets already, and we've only played two or 3 days of play. So that's been phenomenal for the West Indies. He's such a young, talented player, and he's been overlooked in the past 2 drafts. So that's really disappointing. I think we would have benefited from drafting him, but at the same time, we did need to take, you know, a pace bowler in Harris Ralph because he is known on the Australian pitches to be fantastic. So I suppose we were taking a chance with Shamar Joseph, but instead of Tom Curran, I mean, I would have rather see us take another batter because we need to strengthen our lineup. But I mean, it's all because of the pre-signing, which was obviously Tom Curran. So we already had him locked in. And now Frenchie, the Renegades pre-signing was Tim Seifert, the New Zealander. What did you make to him last season? And obviously he was on a 2-year international deal, which automatically brought him back this year. So what are your expectations for him after one season in red already? You there, Heath?
Yeah, your Frenchie's mic's turned off.
Sorry, I didn't realize my mic was turned off. So Seifert was probably I would say, our barometer for the season. Like, our top order crumbled so quickly. Like, you guys saw it. It happened for us against you guys when we went down to the game. And our, like, Brown gets out quickly, Fraser McGurk gets out quickly, and as soon as Seifert comes in, it's kind of similar to what you said about Caleb Jewell. He kind of slows the game down a little bit, and then he controls the pace. He's similar to what Glenn Maxwell did for you guys in that game against us. Seifert's a really smart batsman where he knows when to go for a four, when to go for a six. Like, very smart running behind the wicket, between the wickets as well. So I think it's just something we lacked last season. Was we had all of our top order batsmen like Josh Brown, Fraser McGurk were big hitter batsmen that pretty much get caught trying to go for big hits. And that's where Seifert came in for us. Was we needed someone like Seifert to just slow down the pace and just focus on ones and twos instead of just going for boundaries all the time as well. And that's another thing that I think we did well with. That's the same thing with Rizwan. Rizwan is really good at controlling the pace of the game and focusing on the ones and twos instead of just always going for the big hits. So yeah.
No, that's very good. So third question: where do you think the Renegades will finish on the ladder in BBL?
It's really tough. I think we could push for fourth. I reckon. I feel like that. Fourth is probably the best that we're looking. I don't think we're going to do it. I really think that the team to beat this year has to be the Sydney Sixers with the big signing of the Barazam, and they've got like really smart batsmen and pace bowlers, a really strong list all the way down. So I think the team, if we do make finals, we should make finals. But I think if we do get paired up against the Sixers, we get knocked out. But I feel pretty confident that we can beat any other team in the finals, or it's just the Sixers is where it's not just Renegades. I reckon even you guys in like lower standing teams are going to struggle against the Sixers because they're just definitely the team to beat this year.
Yeah, no, I think he's right in terms of there's going to be a lot of tough teams to beat this year, and the Sixers will definitely be one of them. I personally had the Renegades finishing a little bit higher than fourth. I actually had them at second right now, and that's purely just because their list on paper is so strong. They just missed out on a final spot last year. But when you add Brendan Dockett, who's been up for test selection recently, and Jason Berendorf, I mean, that really strengthens your bowling attack. And then I think you chose wisely with your internationals in getting those right guys for the job. You already have the explosive power hitting of Josh Brown and Fraser McGurk. So you went for those kind of middle order guys just to steady things out. And then an all-rounder, I think, is what you guys needed. You have someone to help out Zampa with the spin, and you've also got someone who can help with that middle order batting depth. So really, I think it was the perfect off-season for you guys, and you're always so active with the signings. You're always the first team to just trade or sign or something. Like, you've picked up Caleb Jewell, like we just spoke about. You know, that's 3 signings already, and we're only halfway through the off-season, so it's been phenomenal to see you guys do that. So that's pretty impressive. And yeah, that's kind of why I have you guys finishing so high. I do have the Scorchers coming in at number 1. I think they'll be back to their best with some new international signings of Laurie Evans and Finn Allen, because they're both in phenomenal form. But yeah, no, I'm interested to see how the Renegades go.
Yeah, for me, and where I think the Renegades, I was saying to Jacob that I have you guys finish third. So basically for the same Jacob and just got massive respect for the Renegades as a whole. So yeah. So
Sure.
the last question is the Renegades for this season.
So was that like the starting 11 for the Renegade season? Is that what you asked?
Yeah, that's what I asked.
Okay, so I had a bit of a look at the list, and I think I've come up with something. So we're starting with opening batsman. I have Caleb Jewell opening with Mohammad Rizwan. It's just because we really needs two batsmen to start controlling the pace of the game. That's why. And then at 3, I have Jake Fraser McGurk coming in next, because if one of those two openers get out, then we do have the big explosiveness of Fraser McGurk come in. And then at 4, I have Tim Seifert. I have him there because we lose a big hitter, and then we have someone in to control the game again. After that, I actually have at 5, I have Matt Harvey. I think we kind of need someone like Matt Harvey out there on the field, because he's a really big hitter, smart cricketer, and probably going to be one of the best fielders in the comp. So we kind of need someone there to take the tough catches or get the run out, just in case we need something. At 6, I have Hassan Khan coming in, just a explosive batter from 6. What can you expect from that? He's just very overall solid player. At 7, I have Will Sutherland, the captain. Once again, he probably was another one of the shining lights for us last year in the batting order. Someone who's not known to, he was known to be an all-rounder, but mainly a bowling all-rounder. But he really surprised me with his batting ability last year, especially in the game against the Scorchers, where him and Tom Rogers pretty much won us the game. And then speaking of Rogers, at 8, I have Tom Rogers. So we're into the tail enders now. So Rogers, and then at 9 we have Zampa. At 10, I have Gurinder Sandhu starting in the lineup, just because I think we need someone to pick up quick wickets, and Sandhu has been known to get a few hat tricks at times. So I think that's just someone we need. And then our last spot goes to Brendan Doggett. So that's my starting 11. And the captain will obviously be Will Sutherland again. I feel like that Seifert should be the starting wicket keeper over Rizwan.
Like it.
Yeah. The questions, Jacob, do we have the Melbourne Star, or do we want to save that for another video?
Look, usually I'd love to give an 11, but right now we just have not made any signings, and we barely even have 11 players on our roster, so it's going to be really difficult for me to give a best 11 right now. So I think it's a good idea to save it, and before the season we'll come back and definitely give our best 11, because we're looking forward to see who we can sign if we do sign players. But yeah, right now it's just really difficult to give that when we literally barely even have enough players on our lineup to field a team.
Yeah, so I'd like to thank you, Frenchie, for coming on and having that about.
Does that wrap it up, Heath?
I just said like to thank Frenchie for coming on to the podcast today.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Any thoughts, Jacob? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, and go Stars.
No worries. Thank you.
Problem.
What you doing? You just wanna